Masayang pagbati na may ngiti sa aking mga labi. Naghahanap ba kayo ng makakatuwang sa pagre-review ng inyong anak? Meron yan sa DepEd. Ang ETUlay online tutorial ay libre at handog ng ating kagawaran sa pangunguna ng OUA ICTS EdTech. Ito ay isang proyektong makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral, katuwang ang mga magulang o kasama sa kani-kanilang tahanan para masagutan at maunawaan ang mga modules. Hangad din ng programang ETUlay ang matulungan ang ating mga guro sa kanilang mga blended learning classes. Ang ating ETUlay ay mula kinder hanggang senior high school. Bukod sa academics, meron din tayong mga special programs gaya ng All is Wellness, Reading and Math Remediation, Storytelling, Mommy Tech Talks, Classes sa Gramatika, Speech Class, Financial Literacy, at marami pang iba. Pinalawig din ng ETUlay ang ating Alive program para sa mga mag-aaral mula grade 1 hanggang grade 3. Gayun din ay mayroon tayong ALS program at SPED tutorials na makasisigurong makakamit ng lahat ang inclusive education. May SPED hotline na rin para sa inyong mga katanungan patungkol sa special education. Kaya, subaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, mula 9:00 ng umaga hanggang 7:00 ng gabi ang ating ETUlay. Sa ating pagtutulungan, maiaangat natin ang bawat isa. Ating itutulay ang pagkatuto upang di mapigil ang pag-aaral ng kabataang Pilipino. Itulay natin ito, sulong edukalidad.
Mabuhay! Isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. Ako ang inyong lingkod, Tutor Madge. Welcome sa ating ETUlay, ang ating libreng online tutorial na hatid ng ating kagawaran ng edukasyon, ICTS EdTech. Ang programang ito ay inaasahang makatutulong at maging karagdagang kaalaman sa mga mag-aaral mula kinder hanggang senior high school, ALS, Alive, at SPED learners. Bukod sa pagsagot ng mga modules, ang ETUlay ay may mga special programs din na siguradong aabangan ninyo araw-araw. Katuwang ang ating mga minamahal na mga magulang at guro ay maitutulay natin ang pagkatuto. Kaya, ihanda na ang inyong module, lapis, papel o kwaderno. Ihanda rin ang isip, mata at tenga sa isa na namang makabuluhang aralin. Tayo nang matuto kasama ang inyong volunteer online tutor sa oras na ito.
Ayan, hello po. Good afternoon everybody. So, ayan, muli ako ulit ang inyong makasama ngayong Friday afternoon. Ako nga pala ang inyong Math Day, Tutor Andre. So, kay Tutor Prince po, ayan, hopefully, makita ko ulit kayo, Tutor Prince. Get well soon po, ayan. Okay, so, medyo nagkaroon lang po tayo ng konting technical difficulties po. But somehow hopefully napapanood nyo na po ako ng live. Ayan po. So medyo na-late na po tayo ng konti. So muli, good afternoon po sa inyo lahat. At bago muna ako magsimula, ay hayaan nyo muna magpati muna tayo sa ating mga avid viewers. Ayan. Kay Grace Guerrizala, good afternoon po. Kay Angelic Marie Salazar, good afternoon po. Watching from Marilao Central Integrated School, Marilao North District, Marilao, Bulacan. Kay Marco Kalumpang, good afternoon from Marilao Central Integrated School, grade 6 SSC. Wow. Kay Eliza Jane Adriino, good afternoon po. Grade 6 people watching from Malasin Elementary School, STO Silio Villagan Isabela, Region 2. Ayan, kay Tristan Miguel Cruz, good afternoon po. And Stephen Cadapan, good afternoon. Kay Kerubin Gabriel Villamor, good afternoon po, watching from STO Quezon. Alexandra Murao, good afternoon po, watching from Marilao Central Integrated School, Marilao North District, Marilao, Bulacan. Kay Lay Aldred Ibay, good afternoon po, watching from Marilao Central Integrated School, Division, Bulacan. Kay Isha May de la Cruz, grade 6, watching from Munoz Central School. Kay Kimberly Kim, good afternoon po, Marilao Central, Marilao North District, Marilao, Bulacan. Ayun. Kay Carl Yuan Marasigan, hi everyone, from Santa Cruz Elementary School, Santa Cruz, Laguna. Kay Marco Corimpang, Aliana Bravo, Alessandra Murao, JV Gadi, Siljan Evans Ofracio, Carl Dominic Baliwas, ayan. And sa lahat po ng mga manonood, muli, good afternoon po sa inyo lahat. Kay Princess Yana Tagloco. Okay, so atin ang simulan ng ating live stream. So muli, nagkaroon po tayo ng technical difficulties. So hopefully, patuloy pa rin ang inyong panonood. Okay, so bago muna tayo magsimula, iyan nyo munang ipakita ko ulit dito sa inyo. So again, DepEd ETUlay online tutorial celebrates National Women's Month. So buong March ay nasa-celebrate po tayo ng Women's Month. So agenda ng kababaihan tungo sa kaunlaran. We make change work for women. Ayan. So kasama natin dyan ang Philippine Commission on Women in celebrating National Women's Month. So mabuhay po sa ating mga kababaihan. Maraming salamat po. Ayan. Okay, so for our discussion this afternoon, ay hayaan nyo munang i-discuss ko sa inyo ang quarter 3 week 5, which is about speed, distance, and time. So that will be our topic for today. So hopefully ay maintindihan ninyo ang ating lesson ngayong araw. So muli, in behalf of Tutor Prince, your tutor Andre is here. So kami ay napapanood every Friday, 1 o'clock to 1:40 p.m. Via our FB and YouTube pages, DepEd EdTech Unit, DepEd Tayo, DepEd Philippines, DepEd EdTech at DepEd TV. Ayan, 1 to 1:40 p.m. po tayo. Okay. So muli, maraming salamat sa ating division office for lending us our module na ginamit natin sa ating tutorial this afternoon. Kaya ma'am and sir, mula sa author, editors, reviewers, illustrators, layout artists, and management team. Maraming salamat. Okay, so what are the objectives of our lesson for today? So at the end of this tutorial session, you are expected to calculate speed, distance, and time, and solve problems involving average speed. Ayan. So parangalan muna natin ang ating mga duties of the week in our last week's assignment. So sila yung mga sumagot ng tama at mga active na nag-participate for our homework. Sila ay sina Ian Gale R. Dilay, ang ating mga soulmates, John Vincent A. Gadi, Henry Stephen P. Kadapan, Gerald R.V.D. Cantor, Gwyneth Angeline L. Tolentino, Nerwin P. Negal Jr., Adrian Ray D. Rivera, Gracie N. Kionisala, Kevin Martin J. Dolunto, Aliyah Judiel B. Javier, Angelic Marie B. Salazar, Jenbert B. Manese, Jeric Johan S. Ramirez, Ivan Joseph Felnar, Sian Ronald S. Castillo, Jeremy Lynn A. Gauna, Carl Yuan S. Marasigan, Maria Erian May B. Zacarias, Enaj Erica J. Galang, Alessandro B. Sandoval, James Joseph E. Bumatay, Rihanna A. Abadier, Fiona Irene U. Espina, and Maria Riana Mitisha T. Sempron. So maraming salamat sa ating mga soulmates. So again, for lesson 1, we have to calculate distance, speed, and time. So paano nga ba tayo mag-calculate ng distance, speed, and time? So that's what we're going to know for today. Ayan. Okay. So suppose we have this triangle, and in this triangle, let's divide this into three parts. Ayan. So 1, 2, and 3. So as you can see, on the top part of the triangle, we have the question, how far? Sa Tagalog, gaano kalayo? Then we have on the left part, we have the how fast question. How fast or gaano kabilis? Ayan. And how long? Gaano kalayo? Ayan. Okay, so yan yung mga kailangan natin malaman sa ating lesson for today. Ayan. How far, how fast, and how long. Okay. So let's have a sample problem here. Yeah. So our problem here is Jonathan bought a new car. He drove his car from Manila to Baguio City at an average speed of 65 kilometers per hour for a total of 4.5 hours. The question is, how far did he travel? Ayan. So let's try to answer the question. So looking at the question, so let us analyze the given facts. So based on the given problem, we have the given 65 kilometers per hour and 4.5 hours. So ano-ano nga ba mga yan? So as you can see, we have 65 kilometers per hour. That answers the question, how fast? Gaano kabilis yung takbo ng kotse? Then we have how long for 4.5 hours. Gaano katagal ang biyahe? Imagine mo, Manila to Baguio City. Nakakamiss tuloy magpunta ng Baguio. Yan, sobrang lamig dyan sa Baguio. Okay, so you're asked to find how far did Jonathan travel. So from that, you'll be able to solve for the distance. And how we're going to solve for the distance? And how far? So we have to use the formula. So before that, we take note that 65 kilometers per hour is our speed, and we have 4.5 hours as our time. So it means we are going to find the distance. And distance is denoted by the formula speed times time. So we're going to multiply the speed by the time. And from that, if you multiply 65 kilometers per hour by 4.5 hours, the result will be 292.5 kilometers. So therefore, Jonathan traveled a distance of 292.5 kilometers. And very good. So nakita ko na nagsagot kayo sa ating mga chat box. Very good kayo dyan. Thank you very much. Magaling magsagot ang ating mga kids. Okay. So let's have problem number 2. Suppose we have this problem. A train traveled 555 kilometers at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. How long did the journey take? Ayan. So as you can see, we have given. So let's analyze. So based on the problem, you're now given the following. 555 kilometers is the distance. Then we have 60 kilometers per hour as our speed. So take note that we are going to look for the time. How long did the journey take? So how are you going to determine the time? So therefore, we are going to use the formula for time. And that is time is equal to distance over speed. And to do that, we will divide the distance by the speed. So that will be time is equal to 555 kilometers divided by 60 kilometers per hour. So therefore, from that, we'll be getting the time of 9.25 hours. Aba, very good ang ating mga kids. Talaga nakuha ninyo ang tamang sagot. So 9.25 hours is the correct time. Okay, very good. So let's now proceed to another problem. Suppose you have this problem. A dog runs from one side of a park to the other. The park is 80 meters across. The dog takes 16 seconds to cross the park. how fast does the dog run? Okay, so from that, we're going to analyze the given. So again, we should have the distance, speed, and time. So based on the given problem, you're given the distance of 80 meters. Then we have the time. We have 16 seconds. So we are looking for the speed of the dog, or how fast does the dog run. So from that, we will be able to find the speed. And to denote the formula for speed, we have speed is equal to distance divided by time, or distance over time. So from that, we are going to have speed is equal to 80 meters divided by 16 seconds. So we have to divide 80 by 16. So that is 5 meters per second, or MPS. So therefore, the speed of the dog is 5 meters per second. Grabe, no? Pagkabilis yung dog. Ayan. So that will be our speed. Okay, so to generalize, so looking at the triangle, so we'll be able to derive the formulas for the distance, speed, and time. So suppose in a given triangle, so you have distance here, speed, and time. So kung nawawala ang distance, ang gagawin nyo lang, tatakpan mo yung sa top na triangle, yung D. So mapapansin nyo magkadikit yung S and T. So ibig sabihin, pag magkadikit, that is multiplication. So we need to multiply the speed by the time. So usually, ang mga units for distance is kilometers, meters, miles, etc. Something like that. Then, if time is missing, so T, so ang kailangan nyo nang gawin, so takpan ko lang yung T. So kung mapapansin nyo, pag tinakpan mo yung T, ay matitira D yung nasa taas, then S yung nasa baba. So meaning, D is the numerator, or the distance is the numerator, and S is the denominator. The speed is the denominator. So from that, we have to divide the distance by the speed. So usually, alam niyo naman, pag time, ang usually na units ay seconds, minutes, hours, etc. Something like that, no? And of course, for the speed, itong last natin. So speed is same thing, takpan mo yung S. So may D ka sa taas, then may D ka sa ibaba. So that is distance over time, or distance divided by time. So again, that's the formula for the speed. So usually, the units for speed are, yeah, meters per second, kilometers per hour, miles per hour, pwede rin miles per minute. So depende sa given problem. So make sure that you should be putting the appropriate units for the distance, speed, and time. Okay, so let's go to some activities or exercises. So let's have this problem. So read and solve the given problem. So let's try to answer number 1. So David rides his motorcycle for 120 kilometers in 2 hours. The question is, what is his average speed in kilometers per hour? Ayan. So therefore, what is the average speed in kilometers per hour? So ayan, nakikita ko na. I'm seeing that we have the following answers. Henry, Stephen Katapan is the first answer. We have 60 kph. kph is kilometers per hour. Same thing with distance. Sian, Metisha, Angelic, Gracie, Merwin. Ayan, so the correct answer is 60 kilometers per hour, or kph. Let's see. So again, you're given a distance of 120 kilometers and the time is 2 hours. So therefore, from that problem, you are given, or you're going to find the speed, or the unknown is the speed. So from that, we're going to use the formula for speed. So that is speed equals to distance divided by time. So that will be speed equals to 120 kilometers divided by 2 hours. So if you divide 120 by 2, the result is 60 kilometers per hour. So the correct answer is 60 kilometers per hour. Okay, very good. Gagaling natin mga kids, ha? Sige, let's proceed to the second problem. How much distance will be covered in 1.5 hours at a speed of 32 kilometers per minute? Ayan. So take note, ha? How much distance will be covered in 1.5 hours at a speed of 32 kilometers per minute? Okay, let's see. So of course, you're going to find the distance. No? So based on the given problem, diba? Okay, medyo iba ang sagot natin. So si Tristan, he answered 48 kilometers. Si Binatay, 434 kilometers. Parang sobrang haba ng anak. Kay Tristan, Henry, Sian, 48 kilometers. Diba? Si Eliza is 60 kilometers. Medyo iba-ibang sagot natin ha. May 48, may 60. Take note of the units ha. We are looking for the distance, kids. Distance. So, may sumagot ng 2,880 kilometers. So, parang sobrang haba na nun. Let's see. Okay, so again, you're looking for the distance. Since you're given the time, 1.5 hours and the speed of 32 kilometers per minute. Okay, take note ha. Take note that the time is in terms of hours and the speed is in terms of minutes, or the time for the speed is in terms of minutes. So from that, what are you going to do to find the distance? So first, we have to convert 32 kilometers per minute into kilometers per hour. Ayan. So medyo tricky yung question natin kasi dapat babasahin nyo na maigi yung problem. Kasi kung papansin niyo, magkaiba yung units na ginamit for time. So you are looking for the distance. So from that, we have to convert 32 kilometers per minute to hours para pwede natin siyang gawing kilometers per hour. So to do that, we have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 60. So it means if you have 32 kilometers per minute or 32 kilometers in 1 minute, so ibig sabihin, para ma-convert siya to hours, so that is we multiply both numerator and denominator by 60. So that is 32 kilometers times 60 all over 1 minute times 60. So from that, we have now 1,920 kilometers over 60 minutes. And of course, as we all know, 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. So that will become 1,920 kilometers over 1 hour. So that's equivalent now to 1,920 kilometers per hour. And then from that, we have now to find the distance by using the formula distance equals to speed times time. So therefore the distance will become 1,920 kilometers per hour times 1.5 hours. So from that, you will cancel the hours rather, and then we have to multiply 1,920 by 1.5. So turuan na namin kayo kung una pa lang kung paano mag-multiply kapag may mixed number, and you'll be arriving at the answer 2,880 kilometers. So hopefully kids ay naiintindihan ninyo kung paano sinolve yung problem. Ayan. So be careful in solving that problem. So sa mga tumama ng 2,880 kilometers, ayan, very good kayo dyan. So I think ang una ko makita yata si Gracie, if I'm mistaken. Ayun. Okay, so be careful again in solving for this problem. So akala natin sa una, ganun-ganun lang, no? Pero still, you have to do the conversion. So dapat familiar kayo sa conversion natin. Ayan, okay. So let's now proceed to number 3 problem. A cyclist covers a distance of 12 kilometers at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour. The question is, calculate the time taken to cover this distance. So again, take note of the problem. A cyclist covers a distance of 12 kilometers at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour. Calculate the time taken to cover this distance. Ayan. So, kaya ang tamang sagot natin dyan. So from that, I'm still waiting for the answers. Kaya ang sagot natin dyan. Of course, to give you a clue, you're given the distance of 12 kilometers and the speed of 8 kilometers per hour. Ayan, so may mga nakita na ako, 1.3 hours according to Jerry Johan. Kina Henry Stephen, 1.5 hours. Kay Gracie, 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours para sa kay Jerry. Typographical error lang. Sa Ivan Joseph, 1.5 hours. Let's see if it's correct. So again, you have to use the formula. Time is equal to distance divided by speed. So the time will be 12 kilometers divided by 8 kilometers per hour. So tendency, cancel in kilometers, and we divide 12 by 8. So 12 divided by 8 is 1.5 or 1.5 hours. So the correct answer is 1.5 hours. Very good, grade 6 students. Yeah, you all got the correct answer. Okay, so from that, we now go to lesson number 2. Solving problems involving average speed. So, medyo level up na tayo ng konti. Okay, so let's have sample problem 1. Ayan. According to the problem, it says, Nandi has to travel a total of 476 kilometers. He travels the first 224 kilometers in 4 hours. The questions are, letter A, calculate his average speed for the first part of the journey. Then letter B, if his average speed remains the same, calculate the total time for him to complete the journey. So imagine niyo ang first 224 kilometers ni Nandi ay kaya niya in 4 hours and he needs to travel a total of 476 kilometers. Okay, so let's analyze this problem. Ayan. So if we put that in the table, so notice that on the first part, we have 224 kilometers for the distance. Then you're given the time of 4 hours. So how are you going to find his average speed? So to find the average speed, as we all know, we have to divide the distance by the time. So that's 224 kilometers divided by 4 hours. And if you divide that, the result will be 56 kilometers per hour. So take note that according to the problem, the average speed should be the same. So therefore, pare-pares dapat siya na 56 kilometers per hour. So from that, how we're going to determine the distance on the second part? Kasi kailangan niya makapag-total ng 476 kilometers. And in first part, meron ka ng 224 kilometers. So from that, we have to, ayan, so same ating average speed. So we have to subtract, ayan, so we have to subtract the total, which is 476 kilometers by 224 kilometers. So if you subtract 476 by 224, the result will be 252 kilometers. So take note that on the second part, we have now the distance of 252 kilometers. So ito yung kailangan takbuhin o gawin ni Nandi. And again, the average speeds are the same. So this time, for the second part, you are now going to find the time. And how we're going to find the time? So of course, time is equal to distance divided by speed. So that is 252 kilometers divided by 56 kilometers per hour. So if you divide 252 by 56, the result will be 4.5 hours. So that will be the time for the second part. But you're asked to find the total time. Yung gaano katagal ang ginawa ni Nandi. So, how are we going to get the total time? So, for that, you're going to add the time on the first part and the time on the second part. So, that's 4 hours plus 4.5 hours. So, if you do that, the result will be 8.5 hours. So, for letter A, the answer is 56 kilometers per hour. That's his average speed. And for letter B, we have 8.5 hours or 8 hours and 30 minutes. Tama. Okay, so nakita ko karamihan sa grade 6 natin ay nagsagot ng tama. Very good. Ayan. Okay. So check natin kung tama. Tama nga ba yan? Kung i-divide natin ang 476 kilometers by 8.5 hours. So if you check by division, we have the same average speed of 56 kilometers per hour. Very good, grade 6 students. Ayan. So his average speed for the first part of the journey is 56 kilometers per hour. And if his average speed remains the same, then the total time for him to complete the journey is 8.5 or 8.5 hours. Tama rin yung mga kasagot. Very good. Okay, so again, take note of the formula for average speed. So, parang katulad na dito kanina. No? So, yung speed kasi is distance over time. But, when we are talking about the average speed, to get the average speed, we are going to get the quotient of the total distance and the total time. So, total distance divided by the total time. So, that will be the formula. Okay. Tandaan nyo na, grade 6 students, average speed is equal to total distance divided by total time. Okay, very good. So let's try this problem. Problem number 2. Alfred drives for 1.5 hours at 75 kilometers per hour. Then drives 120 kilometers at 60 kilometers per hour. And finally drives for 30 minutes at 65 kilometers per hour. So you are looking for this average speed for the whole journey. So take note of the given facts or take note of the given information. So for that activity 2, we have to form a table. Ayan. So we have the following. So on the first part, we have the missing distance. The time is 1.5 kilometers. The time rather is 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. And the speed is 75 kilometers per hour. So the second part, we have the distance of 120 kilometers and a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. And at the third part, we have the unknown distance, then the time of 30 minutes and a speed of 65 kilometers per hour. So we need to find this average speed. But before we find the average speed, we need to determine first the unknown information on each part. So let's start with the first part. So as you can see, the unknown is distance. So again, what's the formula in finding the distance? So distance is, you have to multiply the time by the speed. Or speed times time. So that is multiply 1.5 hours by 75 kilometers per hour. So if you do that, that is equivalent to 112.5 kilometers. So that is your distance. Okay. So, isatabi muna natin ang first part. So, we have already solved for the distance on this first part. Now, we go to the second part. So, from that, we have to solve for the time. And again, what's the formula for time? Time is equal to distance divided by the speed. So that is, we divide 120 kilometers by 60 kilometers per hour. So 120 divided by 60 is 2 hours. So therefore, we have 2 hours for the second part. And now for the third part, we are given the time and the speed. We are required to find the distance and how we're going to solve for the distance. So we have to multiply the speed by the time. But take note that in our given third part, the time is 30 minutes. So in terms of minutes, yung ating time. So of course, you're going to convert 30 minutes to hours. And if you convert 30 minutes to hours, so that is equivalent to 1/2 hour. So alam naman natin, di ba, na sa isang oras ay 30 minutes, or 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes rather. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Then half of that, we get 30 minutes. So therefore, we have to multiply 1/2 hours by 65 kilometers per hour. Again, kaya natin convert yung 30 minutes to hours. It is because our speed has the unit of time hours. So that's why we multiply 1/2 by 65. So that's equivalent to 32.5 kilometers. Okay. So since we already completed the unknowns for each part, we get now the total distance and the total time. So that we will be able to solve for the total, or should I say the average speed. And to get the total distance, we need to add the distances. So 112.5 plus 120 plus 32.5 kilometers. And similarly, for the time, we get the sum of the hours. So we have 1.5 plus 2 hours plus 1.5 hours. And to do that, so we have distance is 265 kilometers. The time is 4 hours. And to find the average speed, we have to get the total distance divided by total time. And average speed will become 66 and 1/4 kilometers per hour. And nakita ko, nagsabi si Hello Stephen, 66.25 kilometers per hour or 66 and 1/4 kilometers per hour. So therefore, that will be your average speed. So that is the answer to our problem. Okay. Dali talaga ng ating mga kids. Ayan. And we're done. So therefore, napakabilis ang ating live session, di ba? Ganun lang po kasimple. Okay. So hopefully kids, you already got the lesson for today, which is about speed, time, and distance. So again, you have to follow the formulas. Ayan. So napakabilis ang ating session. For our homework for today, so again, in our homework, please do post it in our DepEd ETUlay FB page, and please use the hashtags Math6 Q3 Week 5 and hashtag ETUlay Level Up. And lastly, kapag magpo-post kayo, para lang ma-sure namin ni Tutor Prince na talagang nakapag-post kayo sa ating DepEd ETUlay FB page, please do tag us. So please tag us in your post, no? So make sure lang din po kids na hopefully tama yung inyong solutions and your answers, and especially dapat makita namin clearly yung inyong solutions. Kasi yung iba nagsasend ng mga blurred pictures. So hopefully ay malinaw po sa amin ni Tutor Prince yung inyong mga answers. And for our problem F sorry. And for our problem this afternoon, ayan. So a jeep traveling at an average speed of 70 kilometers per hour left the town at 2 p.m. If it arrived in another town at 6 p.m., how far are the two towns from one another? Again, our homework for this afternoon is a jeep traveling at an average speed of 70 kilometers per hour left the town at 2 p.m. If it arrived in another town at 6 p.m., how far are the two towns from one another? So that will be your homework for today. Okay, and again, if you have any suggestions, recommendations, or feedbacks regarding our DepEd ETUlay online tutorial, please do scan this QR code shown on your screens right now, and please also visit our website here shown on your screens. It's www.tinyurl.com/3qstakeholdersfeedback. Maraming salamat po. And to end it up, ayan. So thank you very much for listening and hope you learned something. For comments or suggestions, please do email us at edtech@deped.gov.ph. So up next po tayo for 1:40 p.m. to 2:20 p.m. That is Tutor Rose and Tutor Jolly for Mathematics Grade 7. So kung may mga kamag-anak kayo, pamangkin, pinsan, and the like na Grade 7, pwede sila manood sa ating Math 7 online tutorial. So muli, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. And of course, hopefully, makita ulit si Tutor Prince. Makita soon po, Tutor Prince, if you're watching po. So muli, ako po ang inyong naging tutor this afternoon. I am Tutor Andre, your Math Bay. And muli, this is DepEd ETUlay online tutorial for Grade 6 Mathematics. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagkikinig, and have a happy weekend. Maraming salamat. Paalam! Bye-bye! Thank you po!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag ETUlay Level Up. Huwag aalis ha, dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan. Dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!